It's Wednesday, August 12th, 2020. I'm Greg Nibbler, and this is Digital Trends Live. Yes, indeed. Hello, everyone. This is Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler. Thanks for joining us wherever you are. We appreciate it. We broadcast live here every weekday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, bringing you trending tech headlines, news, interviews, discussions, and more. So thanks for joining us. Let's get started with some news. Guess what? TikTok back in the news again. They have not done themselves any favors as they're facing a potential ban from the US with the revelation that up until last November, they were actually violating Google's rules for Android phones by tracking the MAC, that's MAC addresses of devices. This is according to the Wall Street Journal. So a quick explainer of a MAC address. It's not something that's just for Macs or iOS or Android. It's a unique identifier for every device that connects to the internet, and that includes your phone. It can't be changed. It can't be reset. It will always be associated with just one device. So that's pretty specific to you. So since 2015, both Apple and Google have prohibited apps from reading MAC addresses on iOS and Android, and that's important because of what advertisers could in theory do. Say you want to clear your advertising history and start over with a clean slate so you're not getting the same ads over and over. You should be able to do so, but if a company has your MAC address stored, they could just link it right back up to your previous profile and you'd be at square one. So the implication is that TikTok, by storing your MAC address, could have been doing exactly that. They did stop doing this in November of 2019, they said, which coincidentally was right when a lot of the investigation started up over whether or not they were providing data to the Chinese government. Now, there's no indication that the two are connected or what exactly was done with the MAC addresses as of right now, but it's not a good look when you're facing a ban and forced sale because of concerns over how you handle data. It's all part of this ongoing saga of TikTok. Just one more thing. So if you want to follow along with it as it changes by the hour, go to digitaltrends.com. Continuing on with trending news. Microsoft has made a couple of confirmations when it comes to their upcoming Xbox Series X next generation console. One of them is that it does look like they're on track to deliver in November, possibly even November 6th. That's based on a leak of do not sell stickers that were on some of their controllers. The other, though, is that the most highly anticipated exclusive game for it will not be a part of the release. Halo Infinite won't be arriving until sometime in 2021. The developer of the game, 343 Industries, said in part, "We have made the difficult decision to shift our release to 2021 to ensure the team has adequate time to deliver a Halo game experience that meets our vision." They said the delay was due to development and production challenges, including the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. But this will make for an interesting launch because Halo Infinite was a huge part of their marketing scheme, and it seems to be the premier game to play on their new console. So they don't have another exclusive title that's anywhere near that caliber. The cross-generational play may be enough to get people to buy it right now, but the biggest game isn't going to come until next year. So it kind of leads to bigger questions too, since PlayStation also is set to release their console around the same time. And are they going to have any issues with theirs? There's no signs of that yet, but certainly a delay like this for Microsoft for the Xbox Series X, that's a big delay. So we'll have to see how that affects sales, what people are going to do. But again, that is what the news is right now. Halo Infinite not being released until 2021. The console still on track to release in 2020. You can follow more about that at digitaltrends.com. All right. Have you ever posted something on Twitter, maybe something mildly political, and then proceeded to get a ton of replies or, well, actually messages from people you don't know? Then you'll want to hear about the latest update that Twitter has rolled out. It's a reply limiting option. So if you go to your Twitter app right now, click the button to start writing a tweet, and then look at the bottom. So there's an option there now to select who can reply to you. So you can select everyone, only people mentioned, or only people you follow. If you select one of the limited roles, the reply button is going to be grayed out for anyone who is not included in your approved category. So Twitter says they hope that this will allow for people to feel safer about having conversations on the platform by limiting what they call problematic repliers, which I think we've probably all encountered problematic repliers on that platform. And the hope is that it'll lead to, like I said, more meaningful conversations. So people can still retweet and comment on what's been posted. So they can still take yours, retweet it, put their own comment on there, but that essentially takes the conversation elsewhere. So if it's a bot or a spam replier or problematic replier. That would at least take it somewhere where no one else is likely to see it, because a lot of times they don't have any followers anyway. So it's an interesting experiment, particularly with all the myriad issues and discussions going on currently, and with the political cycle we're all now in the middle of as well. The update is available to everyone, so expect to see reply options popping up on your Twitter feed soon. Read more about it at digitaltrends.com. All right, one final thing here, and then we're going to have some great news from Microsoft coming up here. NASA has declared that their planet-hunting transiting exoplanet survey satellite, otherwise known as TESS, has been a complete success, and they just published a video to celebrate it. So a little history on it. TESS was launched in April of 2018 aboard a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket that put it into an orbit that allowed it to use 4 different cameras to view far and distant solar systems. And because of that, it was able to survey 75% of the starry sky. It found 66 new exoplanets, including the first one of Earth size that was in the habitable zone of its star. It observed a binary star eclipse and a star getting shredded up by a black hole, which is just cool, and that's just a tiny part of what it was able to do. So now it's entering into phase 2 of its mission, which will cover the other 25% of the sky, and that's where some interesting tech improvements are coming into play. So NASA scientists were able to improve the way it collects data and processes data, which means it's now able to capture a full image in 10 minutes versus 30 minutes previously. That's a pretty big improvement. It just goes to show the power of programming and what we can do to even better understand and utilize the tech hardware we already have. It's pretty cool stuff. Wanted to share that. We've got more details on the site, so definitely go there if you'd like to learn more at digitaltrends.com. All right, another big announcement today from Microsoft is that the Surface Duo is going to be out. This is the phone. The phone. We're talking about a phone. And it's finally debuting. And to talk all about it, we've got our own editor-in-chief, Jeremy Kaplan, joining us. Jeremy, it is so good to see you. This thing has been so highly anticipated for so long. Where do you want to start off with this?
Oh my gosh. I remember seeing this last year when Microsoft debuted it at one of their big Surface events. It was October of 2019. And I was like, wow, my mind was just blown. And so to finally actually have the chance to potentially sometimes get our hand on it is very, very exciting. Yeah, it's not out yet, but they have finally announced a release date for it. A price is going to be $13.99. I'm pretty confident that we're going to get a review unit in the next couple of weeks. So we'll have a review up ahead of the launch date when it's going to finally start shipping, which is September 10th. So yeah, very, very exciting. If I could give you something I want to talk about, let's chat a little bit about screens here, because to me, what's interesting is the decision to go with 2 screens smushed together with a hinge between them, right? These are 2 5.6-inch screens joined with this little metal hinge, rather than the common move among phone manufacturers, which is a folding screen. So it seems kind of like an interesting decision. We asked Microsoft about it yesterday. Why would you not do that? You know, I'm thinking the skeptical me says maybe they couldn't figure out the technical challenges of it. Maybe that the cost was prohibitive. And the answer is actually pretty interesting. What Microsoft argues is that the way that your brain works is, think about when you try to retain a long number, right? If I said to you 86192432 smiley face Batman symbol, you would have a hard time retaining that because the brain works in a certain way. So after studying exactly. So after studying cognitive processes like that, they decided that having 2 screens actually facilitates getting work done. You're able to think better because you've got chunks of information rather than one screen that sort of folds in half. So it kind of logical when you stop to think about it.
Yeah, I'd never actually thought about it in that manner. So that's why, at least that's why they're saying that they did that. So when it comes to it, you know, and thinking about it going from that way, what are some of the unique things about this then that makes it stand out?
Yeah, so this concept of 2 screens joined together, that to me is the unique thing, because well, the other, let me put it this way, the other unique thing is the absence of unique things, right? If you're looking at smartphones today, you put a whole, you just like a laundry list that you go through and you check off if you're a phone maker. So it's going to have 5G, it's going to have the Snapdragon 865 processor, it's going to have wireless charging. And Microsoft said, all of that stuff, we're not going to deal with any of that stuff. So it doesn't have any of the specs that you would anticipate. What it's got is 2 screens that fold up. The premise here being, how can you do more with a device? It's not about faster, bigger, smarter. It's about doing more with the software. And that's one of the areas that Microsoft has really shown over the years. It's tuning software to work really, really well with hardware. And if you think about it, that's what Apple has done so successfully over the years, right? So, and Microsoft has been imitating that and saying, how can we bring the same attitude and approach towards Surface? So what this thing does is really, really remarkable things that are just kind of intuitive and smart. You can open two apps side by side. You can drag and drop information between them. And just the concept of, think about your day-to-day operation of email, right? If you're on your phone, you open up your list of emails, you click on an email, and then that email opens up over your inbox. And all of a sudden you're hitting the back button or typing some email and returning. The button I push more than anything else on my phone is the back button. So having two screens side by side, all of a sudden productivity is tripled. It's amazing.
Well, with this, since you said they made some announcements about we got the price, what is the actual release date and when can people get their hands on them?
So you can order it today. They said pre-order. I hate the term pre-order, right? You're not pre-ordering, you're actually ordering. You're going to go out and spend your money, you're ordering the thing. They just can't ship it to you right now. They say they're going to start shipping it on September 10th. So $13.99 buys you the entry-level model. I think it's 128 gigs of storage. There's a higher-end version, 256 gigs for $14.99. So $1,400 or $1,500. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to lay out on something like this. But if it makes you a lot more productive, if you're getting a lot more out of your day, and especially if you're immersed in the Microsoft world, as many of us are, this does seem like a good bargain. Not a bargain. It seems like a smart buy, let's say.
Yeah, well, $1,400. Yeah, that will be interesting to see if it actually plays out. But I mean, then again, that's the same thing for foldable devices from pretty much everybody else. They're all very expensive. So I guess we'll have to see.
And this is actually cheaper. A lot of them are $1,450, $1,500, $2,000.
So maybe I guess in that realm, maybe it's a good buy. I don't know. Well, we're like you said, we hopefully will have a device here soon. Oh, go ahead.
One more thought for you. The way that Microsoft thought about this, and we almost flew by the other interesting fact here, which is that it's running Android rather than a Microsoft operating system. The way that Microsoft characterized this is the Microsoft you love and the Android you're familiar with. Now, I don't know about you. I might flip that around. The Android that you love, the Microsoft you use, I don't know. But anyway, it's a very interesting merger of those two things.
Well, we'll have to see how it all plays out. But definitely interesting. Microsoft back in the phone game again with this one. And Jeremy, thank you so much for being here to talk about it. And I know we've got an article up too, kind of going through a bunch of this stuff. If people want to learn more about it, check it out there. And hopefully we'll have a review soon. Jeremy, as always, good to see you.
Good to see you, my friend.
Jeremy Kaplan, our editor-in-chief right there. Check that out at digitaltrends.com. Something else you can read about at digitaltrends.com is a really cool advancement in AI in association with Parkinson's disease and some different ways that AI is being utilized to help figure out treatments. Joining us next, we have Jin Ying, Dr. Jin Ying Hu, who's an IBM fellow and global science leader, to talk about what IBM has done, partnering with Michael J. Fox Foundation. That's up next. Stick around back here in a minute with more Digital Trends Live. Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler again. Thank you for joining us. One of the things we like to talk about here at Digital Trends is how technology can help people, help improve lives in different ways. It's being utilized in that aspect, and certainly something that we're going to be discussing right now is IBM Research's partnership with the Michael J. Fox Foundation in association with Parkinson's disease and some different ways that it can be treated. And so joining us right now from IBM, our guest is an IBM Fellow and Global Science Leader for AI for Healthcare at IBM Research. We have Dr. Jinying Hu. Doctor, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Eric, and thank you for this opportunity to discuss our work.
Yeah, and I want to get into the foundation and what the results are of this. If you can give us, though, just a little bit maybe of an understanding of what IBM is doing in this category and what your role is with this.
Yeah, so I lead the Center for Computational Health at IBM Research, and I'm also the Global Science Leader of AI for Healthcare. And in this role, I'm responsible for driving our worldwide efforts on accelerating the impact of AI on healthcare. And one of the guiding principles for our work is to not to attempt to address all the problems using one hammer, but rather to work very closely with domain experts to understand the use case and together identify the most important problem to address, and from there to carefully select the type of modeling methodology that's most appropriate for that problem. And this is, the principle that led us to Michael J. Fox Foundation and to the problem of disease progression modeling. So the Michael J. Fox Foundation, as you may be aware, is very committed to finding a cure for Parkinson's disease and to improve the lives of people living with that condition through very aggressive research. And one of the efforts that they have undertaken very successfully is to fund the collection of Parkinson's disease data that can be used to facilitate such research. And this effort has led to the creation of many data sets for Parkinson's disease, out of which the most well-known one is the so-called PPMI dataset. And the foundation was looking for a partner to help them apply advanced data analytics, AI, and machine learning to learn from this data and to be able to understand the disease better with the hope of getting better care for the patients, as well as leading to better drug discovery through more effective trial design. So that's where IBM Research came into play, and we formed this partnership to build new models using these data sets. And our hope really is to be able to get deeper understanding of this very complex condition and the many forms and trajectories it can take in patients to improve care and improve drug discovery.
So when you talk about these data sets and being able to analyze all of this information, and I know Parkinson's, from what I understand, is a very complex disease, and it can have a lot of different symptoms that people can go through. And I know that that's part of the hard part of figuring out a treatment plan. And so with this data, I'm assuming that that's something that hopefully you can work on and you hope to achieve. What are some of the other things that you hope to achieve with this in association with Parkinson's?
Yeah, so that's you have it right. So it turns out that the progression of Parkinson's disease, just like in many other neurodegenerative conditions, is actually very difficult to characterize and to measure. And this is because, just as you pointed out, the symptoms and symptom trajectories of this disease manifest over many, many dimensions. Some of these dimensions are motor related, for example, resting tremor, which is probably what most people associate Parkinson's disease with. Others are non-motor related, for example, sleep disorders and mood disturbances. And these symptoms can vary widely from patient to patient. So all of these make it very challenging for clinicians to actually pinpoint for any individual what is the exact state the individual is in at any given time, and how advanced the disease truly is. And what makes it even more challenging is the medication effects. So unfortunately for Parkinson's disease, there are currently no disease-modifying drugs. but there are medications that can alleviate the symptoms. However, to different degrees of success for different patients. So that could lead to so-called masking of a more advanced disease state. For example, one patient's tremor symptoms may respond very well to medications, whereas another patient may experience less relief from the medication, even though the diseases in both patients are at the same stage of progression. Right? So again, it's very challenging. And a lot of the traditional methods for disease progression modeling really have challenged dealing with the high dimensionality, the variations, and the medication effects. So that's why we turn to machine learning and AI methods. We have been leveraging machine learning and AI to develop methods that can allow us to, the model, right, to learn all these complexities that's reflected in the longitudinal data, while at the same time tease out the underlying, intrinsic clinical states, their characteristics, and the progressions, so that we can have a better understanding of the disease that leads to better drug development as well as patient care. And it also turns out that disease progression modeling is a very common challenge across many chronic conditions. So besides Parkinson's disease, we have also built similar models for other neurodegenerative conditions, such as Huntington's disease. We're also looking at ALS and Alzheimer's disease. And we have also applied similar methods to other types of chronic conditions, such as diabetes and COPD.
Well, it's just such an exciting time that this kind of data can be collected and analyzed, and the potential is there for some of these other treatments and even possibly down the line cures for these. And it's really, really great reading about this. We've got the article up at Digital Trends too, just kind of that goes into it a little bit more. But Doctor, thank you so much for spending some of your time here with us to talk about this work that you're doing. It's really important, and appreciate you being here on Digital Trends Live.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure.
Really, really exciting stuff. They're talking about how technology can be used to treat and diseases like that. Just really interesting stuff. That's one of the great things about technology. Coming up next here on the show, we've got TBD, where Jess and Adrian are going to join us. What's it about? I don't know. That's what we're going to have to find out. Stick around back here in a minute with more Digital Trends Live.
believe this? I'm watching Shark Week last night, and I heard that the male shark has 2
Peters! Apparently, Mr. Peters already knew that a shark has 2
Members of the jury, today's evidence will show that sharks do indeed have 2
pickles. 2 for the price of 1.
Ooh, I'll take 2.
Shark Week. There's still a lot you don't know. Starts Sunday, August 9th on Discovery.
That was a surprise. Hello, everyone. This is Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler. Thanks for joining us wherever you are. We appreciate it. It is now time for TBD, and maybe you got a little bit of clue about what's going to be about this week, but let's introduce our hosts of TBD. We have Jess and Adrian. Jess Serbot, hello. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful, Greg. How are you doing?
Excellent. I'm doing excellent. And also, of course, Adrian Warner. Hello, Adrian.
Hello. Glad to be here. Good morning.
Good morning. So what are we talking about here?
Well, you got a little hint of it because that is just a fantastic commercial, by the way. We're going to be talking all about Shark Week this week. So this week's very special Shark Week edition of TBD stands for Terror Below Deck, which I think is a great title. So what is Shark Week? Let's take a quick look because I feel like it's something we hear in pop culture a lot, but not everybody knows what it is or what it entails. Is it a whole week? Yes, it is. After all, one of my favorite quotes, Tracy Jordan in 30 Rock says, "Live every week like it's Shark Week." Shark Week is actually really, really old. If you didn't know, it debuted way back in 1988 in July on the Discovery Channel. So it is 32 years old. Not that I know how old that is. and it's an entire week of programming dedicated to the conservation efforts for sharks and, correcting common misconceptions about sharks. It continues on as a tradition every single year. It always airs either in late July or early August. And it is, it's always lauded and people tune in from around the world because it broadcasts in over 72 countries. It's also seen a lot of notable guest hosts throughout the years and through the decades as it's gained tons and tons of popularity. The hosts of Mythbusters came on, horror movie Eli Roth was a host one year, comedian Rob Riggle, and even Shaq was a host one year. So all of that programming is going on right now, and it runs through August 16th. So you can tune in, you can check out the schedule on discovery.com. We're not being paid by discovery.com. We're just that excited about Shark Week. And if you don't have cable, that's okay, because you can tune into all these shows on Fubo TV, which is currently offering a 7-day free trial. 7 days is a week. So perfect. Another cool thing is that Discovery is partnering with Oceana, which is advocating for the passage of the Shark Fin Sales Elimination Act of 2019. So it's all, for the greater good, for sharks, for education. And I'm going to hand it over to Jess, who's going to talk about some of the super exciting programming that we are going to see throughout the rest of the week.
Awesome. Yes. So I'm going to break down a few highlights that we can look forward to for programming. As Adrian mentioned, it actually did start on Sunday. And that's when you could have viewed, and still can view, Tyson versus Jaws, Rumble on the Reef. This special finds us watching Mike Tyson in a cage going head to head with sharks, and is actually it has a famed ring announcer, Michael Buffer, calling the shots. So interesting thing to check out there. He did say that this was a big fear of his. So clearly Tyson is taking on a bunch of different fears this year. Good for him. Next up, we have Shack Attack. And if you'll remember, back in 2018, Shack actually suffered or was the victim of a shark attack when he was down in the Bahamas filming his previous special, Shack Does Shark Week. He was in a cage, but the shark wriggled in, and he was able to elbow it in the mouth, and it actually clenched its jaw. So he was able to kind of get clear of it. But he's back. Do not worry. He's actually teamed up with YouTube stars Dude Perfect and Mark Rober to put various species to the test and kind of explore the most mind-blowing hunting techniques of these predators. We also have YouTube phenom Mr. Beast. He has a special this year. He and his crews team up with shark expert Luke Tipple to take on a 24-hour shark challenge, in which they dare each other in a quest for the most dangerous shark selfie. good for them. I'm not involved, but
That just sounds dumb,
great.
but yes, I want to watch it.
So, and then on Friday, the special Tiger Shark King will air. In the Caribbean, a deep sea camera captured a footage of a 14-foot tiger shark being attacked by what they describe as a large unseen beast. So it could be an unknown species of mega shark, or it might even be a cannibalistic tiger shark. So in the special, they go find out. We've also got quick rundown.
Awesome.
Will Smith confronting his fear of the open seas. We've got Snoop Dogg breaking down the craziest shark encounters ever caught on tape. We have a special on flying sharks called Air Jaws. Explorers go looking for both unknown alien sharks and also sharks that have been lost to science for over 100 years. They also explore the sharks of Ghost Island, which is an island placed on the corner of the Bermuda Triangle, which like locals have abandoned after multiple shark shipwrecks and like shark attacks. So check that one out. And speaking of the Bermuda Triangle, one more. Discovery is once again bringing back something for reality TV enthusiasts in the form of Naked and Afraid of Sharks 2. So basically, at the edge of the Bermuda Triangle, 5 veterans of the show Naked and Afraid all attempt to survive on a remote strip of islands that they say the waters are so teeming with predators that locals call it Shark Alley. So, of course, they have limited resources. The land is punishing, so they have to resort to heading to the water where the predators are to find their food and compete. So that one actually I kind of want to see. Maybe checking that out. And that is my rundown for you.
That is awesome. I mean, as long as if they could work at like Sasquatch in there somehow, I think then I'm like, this is everything that I ever want to see. So Shark Week right there. Thank you. And I know one other part too for TBD, we also have our kick stop it today. So what are we looking at for this?
Yes, Greg, we have our wonderful Kick Stop It. I'm actually going to let Jess introduce this one because she was the one that found it, but it is a knife guard and it is, questionable if it works.
I mean, so it's called Hooky Knife Guard. It's an auto sanitizer for knives and flatware. Basically looks like a knife block. They claim it destroys bacteria using ultraviolet light. So against like the salmonella, the E. coli, and norovirus, all of those. And it also dries and disinfects flatware with a built-in 158-degree Fahrenheit dryer. They do claim, like it's non-toxic, like many cleaners can be. It's cool. It's pretty. It's sleek. It's almost doubly funded. So, people are clearly agreeing with that. I don't know. It retails for like $130, and I've been washing knives for many years now and haven't really experienced a problem otherwise. I'm okay without this personally, I believe. It's pretty. I mean, it might be a nice like gift. I don't know, guys. I don't know.
I just, love reaching for a hot knife. I do think it would be really useful for people who don't have dishwashers at home, who don't have access to like that high heat kind of drying. But again, like Jess mentioned, I've also washed a lot of knives by hand for years, and that definitely has a bit of problem for me. But maybe for restaurants, if they can build an industrial size version of this.
Yeah, there we go. Maybe it's for the times, if you will.
I think it's smart, like to put UV on anything right now is going to sell. It doesn't matter what it is. So that part, I get the marketing on it. But $130. I've got soap. I've got a sponge. I've got a dishwasher.
We have non-toxic
I feel like
soap
I'm okay.
even. We're fine.
Yeah, I feel like I'm all right. So kickstart it or kick stop it. Jess, what about you?
I'll be kick stopping this one. It's kind of a kick to a kick stop. It's fine. I don't need it.
And Adrian,
I'll agree
what do you
there. It's a kick to a kick stop.
Yeah.
Don't hate it, but I do think it's not quite worth the price tag.
Yeah, I'm on board with both of you. So kick to a kick stop. That's the new term, I guess. 100% on board with that. All right, and finally for TBD, something that we always have to have every week, and that is some Charlie Cam.
Yes,
Oh,
it's his
buddy.
own edition of Shark Week. He's got his own little shark. And
Oh,
you know
look, a
what? He's
shark
giving it a
attack.
run for its money. Look at that shark attack.
We just saw a shark attack.
I will watch an entire
Live and
show
on
of
camera.
Charlie during Shark
Live
Week.
and on camera.
Enjoy.
Awesome. Well,
Thank
Jess, Adrian, thank you so much, as always. Great edition of TBD, and I'll talk to you soon.
Great. Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
Shark Week. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. This is Digital Trends Live. Appreciate it greatly every time that you tune in. Hit that subscribe button, share the show, let other people know about it. We have a YouTube channel. You can go hit subscribe on there, too, for Digital Trends Live. That's awesome. And we've always got some great things coming up tomorrow. We've got Lisa Marie Sagara, who's going to be here for gaming news to talk about everything that's going on in the world of gaming, which is always changing. And we'll have some great guests for you as well. So I'm Greg Nibbler, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow with another edition of Digital Trends Live.